everybody, I'm joined by COO of Cognitivity Neurosciences Ltd, Tom Sawyer. Tom, how's it going?
Very well, thanks. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. So I see you guys were down at the CanTech conference there.
Yes.
How's that been going?
It's been good. Busy day. My colleague's giving a talk right now and a lot of good meetings. So yeah, it's been positive. Thank you.
Awesome. So for those who don't know, your company is involved with doing cognitive tests to some degree, which would potentially allow patients or people to understand if they're at risk for dementia or other things. Can you elaborate on that for the viewers?
Absolutely. I mean, the idea of being able to accurately and early diagnose dementia is quite an important thing. So, dementia is the biggest single healthcare challenge of the 21st century, and currently the system is terrible at diagnosing people. And one of the main ways that you can diagnose people is to show cognitive impairment, right? So they're not performing as well as they should be for their age or their group, and able to spot that early. Right,
and so the main, I guess, product or IP that the company has right now is that we've seen it before on the show, the app that was in an iPad, and you're able to pictures flash up, and you're supposed to identify a category.
That's
and
right.
If your score is off, it might suggest that it's not clicking, and you might be a bit slower than you should be.
Yes, I think that's a fair description. So really what we have is something that we like to say is equivalent to, say, a blood pressure test. So if you go to see your doctor and you have a blood pressure test, the test is cheap, easy to administer, but it's meaningful. It says something about your cardiovascular health. But if you have high blood pressure, it doesn't mean that you're going to drop dead from a heart attack tomorrow. It just says we need to investigate and see why that is. Similarly for cognition, if you are not where we think you should be, relative to your age, for example, then we're able to examine that and say, okay, well, why is this? Can we explain it? Are you under medication? Are you alcohol impaired, and so on? Yeah. If you can't explain it, you would refer to a specialist.
And so what's the, obviously this is something that you want to sell to healthcare systems, so what's the strategy to go into, what's the biggest market that you want to go for? Is it US, or where would you be looking?
Sure, yeah. I mean, obviously the US healthcare market is the biggest market in the world, and we're keen to get in there, absolutely, without a doubt. I mean, I think we can split the way that we approach the market into two ways. There's the clinical use, so this is used by doctors, which requires regulatory approval. But also recently, at the end of last year, we signed a commercial agreement for non-clinical use, so to be used as part of a suite of healthcare monitoring apps, which are then to be used by people who are taking control of their own health. And by using that, they will be able to access cheaper insurance policies and so on, and we're able to supply a cognitive module, i.e. something that allows us to test how well people are performing.
Yeah, and there's a look at what we're dealing with there. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so looking at your recent press releases, there's clinical trials that you guys have been carrying out. Why don't I just let you cover the key items from sort of the end of last year and moving into this year? What are the milestones that Cognitive Neurosciences has sort of crossed?
Yes, I think at the end of last year, the exciting thing has really been this partnership agreement we signed with the company called Dakadu, who supply this suite of healthcare monitoring software to insurance company clients. This is a very interesting thing for us because this enables us to really get into revenue ahead of regulatory approval. Because obviously anything you approve for clinical use has to go through the FDA, Health Canada, and so on, which is a very long and time-consuming process. So the ability to show that we can generate revenue ahead of that approval process is very important for us, and this is a very exciting partnership.
Has that process started? I mean, how does that? I understand it's complicated, and it will take a long time. But have you guys reached out to Health Canada, or how do you even start that?
Yes, so the way you start it is you design a trial and then you effectively have that approved by various regulatory authorities. So for example, with regard to the FDA in the US, we would pre-submit our trial design to them. They would then comment, we'd take them on board, and then we would go ahead with the trial. So the trial we're actually conducting in London in the UK at the moment, and that's ongoing, and we expect that to really take till the end of the year to complete before we are able to do the submission. The same goes for Health Canada, the same for European regulatory approval, so they all happen fairly concurrently.
Yeah, and you can take that trial and then build it out to different nations as you see fit, right? So I guess the potential is sort of limited to the number of countries or healthcare systems in some respects.
Exactly that, and obviously, we'll address markets in their sort of relative importance. So North America obviously important, Europe very important as well.
Okay, great. Well, Tom, thanks so much for coming in, and enjoy the rest of the conference. And we'd love to have you back, especially as the trials are winding down, and kind of see where the company's at.
Thank you very much.
Okay.